going on, everyone? Another week, and we have a great show for you this week. I mean, me and Seth was talking, and we love the back and forth that we did last week. So we want to bring on uh, both guys back on to
Well,
continue the
AJ's not back.
debates.
Zach's been on the show before though. AJ was on
Yes,
last week.
AJ was on last week, but we got Zach this week. So we're bringing back some of your fan favorites, and then we're gonna talk and we're gonna continue our dialogue. We had some breaking news today. Our president was
Oh
accused
yeah.
of battery. Former president, excuse me.
It
And so
didn't
we're
even.
gonna be
It
talking a
doesn't
little
even
bit.
count in my. It doesn't even register in my head like when he gets caught for something because I still don't expect him to face consequences.
Right? Yeah, but this one, a jury definitely gave him the consequence tonight. So we'll touch base on that. We obviously have the Texas shooting, which
Oh
is
yeah.
another tragedy in America that's been very impactful. Um, and we have so many crazy news down in Florida, of course. And let's not forget our good old George Santos. Your boy has been
My
officially
boy.
criminally indicted. Well, not your boy, but
Seth
yeah,
and George Santos, good pals. I'm sure that's a lie
good.
he'd make up too, right?
Yeah, man, these guys, he's on the roll. So we'll go over some of his charges. We'll look at the legal implication of that, and then we'll go a little deep dive into Tucker Carlson's new show. I want to know he's launching his Twitter only show, which I think that's pretty
Oh,
interesting.
I didn't even finish the
Um,
video. The end of the video he posted. This is news to me.
yeah, so he's coming out with a Twitter show.
Hmm.
He's like, man, you gotta be very toxic to only, go go for like a big media national uh media presence to Twitter. So
Yeah,
no offense. I love all my subscribers, but
yeah.
from where he was at, that's a big fall.
It's not
So
been
that's
the
pretty
it's
toxic.
not been the historical format of, I mean,
Yeah,
television news stuff like that.
yeah, all right. He's going totally going backwards. So that's on the Turkey Carlson front. And let's see, I think what else we have to cover? We have let me make sure I check my notes here.
Zach is ready to join if you are ready.
Yeah, let him in.
You guys ready for our first guest, Zach Britt? And here he is. Welcome, Zach.
Hello, glad to be here
Glad
again.
to have you back. It's been a couple
Yeah,
weeks.
Yes, it has.
it's
I'm
been
back from college.
He's back from college. You're a free man.
A free man. Well,
Louisiana,
I
right?
still have another year to go, but I'm
You
sorry.
what?
Well, Louisiana, right?
Close.
Mississippi. Often forgotten Mississippi.
Sorry, I was somewhere in the deep south. I was thinking. And we have.
And
Let's
Justice
see.
is ready too.
Oh wow! Look at
Wow.
that.
The
Look at
gang's
that.
back together. Look at that.
Yeah, he knew that Zach was on. He's like, all right, I guess it's time to join.
Yeah, I gotta hop on for sure.
Yeah, both 4 minutes late. Come on, guys.
I've actually, I think Justice is the only person on this stream that I've actually met in person before.
Really?
Yeah,
Really?
we hung
You
out
don't
in
remember meeting me?
Michigan.
Wait, you guys met in Michigan and didn't invite me?
Well,
Bro,
It was for
Michigan.
SFL.
were you? It was for SFI.
God damn it! I should
Yeah,
have
back
been
when
there.
I was a show for the Koch brothers.
Yeah, I was probably
Hey,
a shield at the
we've
exact
all
same
been a
time
show for
though.
the Koch brothers at some point.
Yeah, we were all probably in the Libertarian Party at the same time. We could have hung out, been like, taxation is theft.
True.
I've never really been to a
It
Libertarian
is,
Party
it
event,
is, but we
actually.
like it.
It's the good kind of theft, like Robin Hood. Like Robin Hood.
Oh,
Well,
no,
I mean, if
Robin
not
Hood.
not American taxation, but in general taxation. You know what I mean?
I
The
gotcha.
way Nordics do it, that's more like Robin Hood. We are more like steal from the poor, give to the rich. So
Yeah,
like
that's the reason to
grocery taxes
oppose
and shit.
taxation.
I mean, there are reasons to oppose taxation in general still.
There are, but there's if you oppose taxation in general, then it's like let's get rid of all taxation. And without all taxation, it's just anarcho-capitalism. So I don't really think we should just get rid of all taxation. It serves a purpose right now.
I tend to agree.
It's okay,
All
Justice. Co-parter.
All right, so
I'm
we are,
seething right
you
now.
know, we do it. We take our news of the week essentially, and then we kind of put our perspective and our spin on it. Um, that's kind of our formatting a little bit of what we do here. So I said earlier, kind of prime the show by talking about the current events that happened today. What do you guys think about the sexual former President Trump being officially recognized as sexual batter?
Finally.
Yeah, finally.
Right?
I mean, he's admitted to being a sexual abuser for what is it, 2015? That's like 8 years now.
Yeah, I guess he.
So at
But
least
in his
they
interview,
finally
he's
got him.
like, "Oh, I'm just saying stars do it, not that I did it." But we all know he admitted it.
I mean, there's been multiple people that have come forward over the past 8 years, even before he was running for president, that have said that he's raped them. It's finally something is happening. There's some sort of accountability for this man.
Yeah. To see what they ultimately what he ends up paying in fines and violation because this was a civil suit.
I think they said
So
5 million.
with 5 million, okay, wow.
Yeah,
I
I
feel
feel like
it
that's
should,
not a ton. For
yeah,
him.
it's not really enough for him.
No.
Yeah, it's like 5 million is like a drop in the bucket for him. But yeah, that was I thought that was pretty. It's like, wow, man, he's definitely going to history books as the most
The first
litigious
president
president.
to
I
get
think.
criminally indicted twice, right?
Right.
So far.
Me died
It,
twice, impeached, and sued.
and not only is it not a lot for him, he's going to fundraise off of this and make the money back like
Yeah.
that. Like his base is so rabid, and they'll defend anything he said. Like I've already seen people on Twitter like defending him, saying that he should sue for defamation, things like that. Like saying that because the rape charge got dropped, that he's somehow innocent. Like all this ridiculous nonsense because they worship this
No
guy
collusion,
no
no
matter what he does.
obstruction.
Exactly, no collusion, no obstruction. All that stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't
Yeah.
know how they think that they're going to win a lawsuit when he literally just lost the case saying he did in fact do it. It's like,
Exactly.
oh, who's going to say differently? They just proved he did it.
Well, they're conservative, so they're dumb.
Yeah.
So
So all government and all legislative, practice and precedent goes right out the window because it's the deep state and they're just making it all up. And so nothing means anything to them.
Well, yeah, that's the thing. The more you interact with conservatives, I feel like the more you start to realize they don't actually believe in anything. They don't have necessarily an ideology so much as they have like sensitivities to be trusting of certain things and distrustful of other things. And once you realize that, it mostly makes sense. It's not about like values, it's about in group versus out group.
Yeah, conservative is too broad of a word that it basically just means anti-liberal. So they're just reactionary. They do the opposite of what we do.
Wait, am I a conservative?
No, you're not anti-liberal, bro. You're a liberal.
Yes, I am.
No, you're not.
Oh,
I
come
hate
on.
liberal. Oh
You're-
no.
You can hate liberals and be a liberal. You're a radical liberal, bro. Libertarian socialism is an extension of liberalism. You know it's true. You're not a liberal
It
capitalist,
is
but
true.
you're not anti-liberal, bro.
I hate that you're using
You-
that word to describe me.
You know I'm right. You know I'm right.
I'm not a fucking
liberalism
liberal.
is a good thing, Zach.
Yeah,
No, it's not.
Liberalism means freedom of people, a natural
it means
harmony of
liberty, bro.
interests.
It's
It
the
means
root word is liberty. And you believe
Exactly.
in liberty, and you're a kind of liberal, but you're
Like I would
opposed to capitalism.
like I would say there are good liberal values to have, but like liberalism in and of itself is just empty and it's
I agree.
devoid of substance like that actually helps people.
The original liberalism, yeah, that's why you're a kind of liberal. You're one that believes in, an extension of liberalism to the democratic workplace, the stuff like that. Extension of liberty among all people, private, public. You just believe in a certain kind of liberalism. So do
Right.
most conservatives, though, even if they hate liberals. They believe in classical liberalism. They think
I
free markets is the way. They're not like totalitarians, where they kind of are, but that think
I
like
mean, that
the
might have been
government.
true at some point.
Yeah, I think most of them still think they are, at least.
I don't know. We're seeing a lot more people like national conservatives who are outright rejecting liberalism and saying specifically
Yeah,
like illiberal methods are the only way for us to get what we want.
I agree with that
And to
too.
me, that just kind of illustrates that maybe they never really cared about those values. They just use those values as cover for basically caring about the rich.
This is true. They're partisans before they're uh, ideologues. That's definitely true.
Yeah, that's definitely true.
They drop their values as soon as they're in power, but they at least their proclaimed values about at least their rhetoric is liberal rhetoric. We'll say that. Conservative,
Sure.
if they
That's just
really
because
ran a conservative
everyone.
rhetoric, it would be like, I don't know. They wouldn't even talk about freedom because they don't really believe about in freedom in pretty much any reasonable way. Like
Yeah, I
economic
mean,
freedom is freedom. It's like saying I think we can hear you, Zach. Why don't you say it out loud? That's a better way to test if we can hear you.
Oh yeah, fair enough. Yeah, I just wanted to make sure my mic was okay. You know.
Yeah, bro, I can't hear you. It's a text.
I think for me, I think what conservative is just a conformity. I think I take the con from
Yeah.
conservative, and I say it's conformity. It's conformity
Yeah.
to an old past existence of what they believe the world should be. It's not about progression; it's about keeping it. And it's kind of counterintuitive from what we actually the foundation of the country, because our founding fathers were not conservative. If anything, they were nothing but liberals.
Yeah, they were
And,
classical liberalism. I
and
think classical liberalism is like the state ideology kind of the country. I mean, it's drawn into the Constitution. It's all the civil liberties are classical liberal values, and that's why conservatives are trying to like that's what they're proclaiming to conserve, but like they don't really have any conceptualization of what liberalism is, which is why they're terrible advocates for it, which is why it also makes no sense to them to attack liberalism while trying to protect it, because it's just obviously contradictory. So that's why it's very clear they have no real values and they're just partisans. That's what I
yeah,
think.
because
And
I mean,
I think.
just
Sorry, you can go ahead.
no, no, I was gonna let you go because I had nothing else
Everybody's
to
more
say.
polite than
Okay.
Seth.
Yeah, right. Let's get
I
it
was just
out
going to
there.
say that it kind of mirrors the same thing you see from like tankies and state socialists, where they see one particular revolution or one particular moment in
Yeah.
history as representing the truth of their values, but then anything that threatens to challenge that status quo in following time periods is seen as counter-revolutionary. Because if you don't uphold, the new authority that's supposedly now a socialist authority, then you're not actually upholding socialism. You're just a counter-revolutionary.
Yeah,
Mm,
I agree.
very interesting. But yeah, going back to just from my ideas with conservative is just if our founding fathers had the mindset of conservatism, we'll still be under a monarchy. You saw
Yeah.
that whole fanfare this past weekend. This whole like the British people were like this 70-year-old, and I'm not ageist, but the 70-year-old king, and he's the king, and it's like that knows anything about British realize the king has no power. He's just
Yeah.
he's like the
But
king
that's a good
forever.
example of what like any other kind of conservatism like leads to is it's like
Yeah,
monarchism. It's the original conservatism, and since America never really had a monarchy to begin with, that's kind of as far back as we'll go as like a classical liberal society. But then
exactly.
obviously we have people that don't even believe in that, and they're even farther right, and they're like Roman fascists are basically people that just want to live in Rome. Like that's what they all their aesthetics derived from. I mean, obviously fascist like Nazi Germany and shit like that too, but
Yeah,
like that's what they want is an empire. They're like neo-imperialists essentially, but also and anti-interventionists, which is kind of counterintuitive. They just don't want to help others. They just want to just invade other countries, basically, right?
pretty much. Trade other
Yeah,
countries and
again,
have
it's
one.
just the in-group, out-group thing.
Hmm.
All right, guys. So we're gonna move on to the other breaking news. Representative George Santos charged in a federal probe. Look at this.
Oh, really?
Let me
What?
I've
share my
heard people talking about him today. I didn't know what the news was.
let me share my screen. Don't judge me, guys. I have a lot of
Here, I'll put you
tabs open. Guys, see it?
Yes.
It looks
Yeah.
so sad. He looks so sad right here. about it.
Oh,
It's a little
poor
blurry,
guy.
I can see.
Poor guy.
Yeah.
If it isn't the consequences of my own actions.
Yeah. Let's see. See if I can pull up some of the charges here. Oh, they didn't put him on there. He made some. Santos admitted to making some misleading claims about his education and financial status, but continues to deny the more serious allegations.
Is that a crime? To run
To
for
lie,
office and lie about credentials?
Well, there's campaign finance laws,
That's true.
so you have
Yeah.
to make
I
sure you
definitely
follow
believe
those.
that.
Yeah,
And I assume if you lie about certain aspects of your campaign and then make money off of that, then that could be vital.
Yeah, I guess it's like kind of fraud. You're right.
yeah. I mean, for me, the problem with you guys ever seen the video with George Santos and Mitt Romney? Have you
No, but
guys?
is that the one where he said that he told like you don't belong here or
Yeah,
something like
right.
that? Is that the one you're talking about?
Yeah,
I
I'm
just remember
saying.
hearing Romney say, "Your screen's kind of blurry. Let's see how this looks."
List is now Angie, and
Oh,
it's
there we go.
easier
Now it
than
looks
ever
good.
to get your
You guys see the audio?
Yeah, the audio is really strong.
Interesting moment ahead of the president's State
I don't know
of
if
the
you guys
Union.
can see the audio. Can you?
Republican Senator
Yeah, I see
Mitt
it. It's
Romney
pretty good now.
had an encounter confronting GOP Congressman George Santos for multiple lies, telling him, quote, "You don't
It didn't catch
belong
the audio.
here." He also apparently to right now to George Santos.
He had a really
He said
nice
to
orange
reporters
tie there.
he should be quiet instead of parading and people coming into the not clear exactly what Santos's response is. Twitter.
Yeah, he seems
Anyway,
saucy.
that was a joke. Yeah, it was pretty much a joke, man. At
He's
the end
the
of the day,
definition of
it's kind of
joke.
bad. Yeah, I don't know how to stop sharing, guys. Oh, here it is.
Oh, I got you. No.
You got it?
Yeah, I had to operate
Our
the whole
technical
time.
producer. No, wait. Did you take it off? So?
Yeah, we're all back to normal now.
I can't see nobody.
It's okay. I can see.
Yeah, I can see everybody. I dislike
see
coverage. I dislike coverage like that because it makes Mitt Romney look like an actual human being, even though he's a fucking monster.
He's the best Republican. He's one of the best
So-
Republicans for sure. Most human ones.
Yeah, he's very interesting
I know
character.
it's such a
Mitt
different
Romney.
standard though, because he's worse than like Kristen Cinema even. But like we hate her, but like he's got a little bit of like a warm spot.
Is he though? Is he really
Is he really what?
better than Christian Cinema?
I feel like you have to like have a warmer feeling about the worst Republican versus the best Republican versus the worst Democrat.
I mean, I guess I'm like,
It's like she can
Kristen
be better. and she
Sinema the
proclaims
worst
to be.
Democrat?
yes.
Yes, definitely.
He
Although
is.
maybe you could make an argument
Well, what about
for
She's worse than
West
Manchin.
Virginia.
Manchin, yeah.
Worse
I'd
than
say she's
Manchin?
worse.
I don't know if she's watched the mansion.
Because well, first of all, there's the electoral aspect where he could never be elected if he was more progressive, but she could be so much more
Yeah,
progressive.
but you're forgetting she's our base bisexual queen girl boss.
Yeah, but she exactly that's all she has. But she used to be like a Green Party member too, so she used to be like really progressive, and she's just been grifting slowly and slowly to the point where she's. You don't think she used to be before the money? She used to be probably serious about her politics. To be in the Green Party, you can't be a grifter because there's no money. Nobody gives a shit about the Green Party.
Well, I think that's a true
Right.
statement. There's really
Yeah.
much money in the Green Party. But yeah, so I thought that was interesting. He's sitting sitting House of Representative and the sitting House Representative in charge, and he pretty much just lied completely on his resume about the things that he accomplished. And he was elected, finally staying in office, where he literally lied to American people about what he really is and who he really is. And it's kind of getting back to his national stage where there's a lot going on where politicians are kind of getting away with whatever they want to do, and they're separating themselves from the people. And I say that because when I look at what's going on with Supreme Court Justice Clarence Thomas,
Boy.
and I look at George Santos and how he's getting elected, and a lot of our representatives are not really. It's almost like there's no transparency anymore. It used to
Has there
be
ever been?
where, well,
I feel like there's actually
Good
more
point.
transparency
It's
now than
never
ever.
been
We would
full
never even known about
transparency.
this, right? There's probably been people like this
Yeah,
the
there's a,
entire time, and they just don't get covered because we don't have
yeah,
the news, the multi different kinds of ways people get news. Plus, like it was very controlled back then, and it's very easy to lie about stuff because you can't really find out that it's false. It's not like people had an internet. You'd have to like ride in your horse from like all the way to Massachusetts to be like, did George go here? So I think it's gonna be more transparent than ever. We're just transparently finding out that there's never been any transparency. So
that's
Right.
very true.
Well, it
But
all
it
comes back to
just,
Citizens United. So it all comes back to that.
yeah, definitely.
yes, yeah. I mean, that doesn't really affect Clarence Thomas much, but everyone else, yes, it does. Because now
Yeah,
everyone just says whatever they want, more money.
yeah, that's true. It is it's kind of like become the commodification of news, where
And
it's
this,
like people are oh, it, where people kind of like it's all about clickbait pretty much. What gets the most attention? What's going to get viewers? And the truth is
exactly.
not really what's going to get the viewers,
Who's that
unless you're
lady?
uncovering like conspiracy theories or something. But
I can't think of her name, but she's like the biggest Trumper. She's a
Marjorie Taylor
lady.
Greene.
That her. Yeah, she's like sorry, bad with names. But yeah,
That's all right.
she's
I can read
the
your mind.
queen of that. Like she says these clickbait stuff, and it's like it doesn't make any sense. I know she knows it doesn't make any sense,
I don't
but she
think I
says
think
it
she
anyway.
believes it.
Hmm?
She's crazy. I think she believes it.
No, I don't think she's crazy. I think she likes the attention that she gets from it,
Why not
and
both?
she's just a narcissist.
Exactly.
That doesn't make being a narcissist doesn't necessarily make you true. You just like to
Being a
see
narcissist makes you believe everything that you think is true. You know what I mean? Every thought, if you're like, boom, maybe it's this, it's definitely true because I'm a genius. So I think
Yeah.
I literally, like I've mentioned this, I work with a girl and she thinks every time she gets headaches, it's because of 5G or because the government, she saw chemtrails that day or something.
chemtrails.
Yeah, literally. So she believes it 100%. She believes that crap. So I just think some people are crazy to believe every thought in their brain. Like it could happen, therefore it does because it proves my perspective. So
Yeah, you're right. There are people out there that need some kind of help. Let's put it that way.
yeah,
uh, uh, moving on to our
They
next
just need to
topic.
stop receiving attention.
what
Who?
was that?
I said, or they just need to stop receiving attention.
True.
That's what they feed off of so much of the time anyway.
I think
Well,
that's true as well.
there's always an audience for crazies.
True.
Just think about it. When you really think about some of the, because there's an audience for everybody. That's why when people say speak your voice, it's true. Speak your voice because there's an audience to listen. If you're being who you really are, and she has an audience, and the problem with her audience is it is fed by the national media. And so someone says 60 is going to be worse. Okay, so yeah, so it's fed by the national media, and that's what happens when you have these little pockets of audience like Trump. There's really a pocket of people that follows Trump, like 34% of the
Yeah.
country that follows him. But he says so much sensationalism, and I took this class in college, and I'm going to age myself. That was a long time ago, but like undergrad, which was like 10 years ago, I think. It was a class. It was in news media, and what the media publishes, and I saw this. Seth will tell you in our campaign, they they publicize those things that are very, very clickbait. So even though it was not informational whatsoever to people, if it sounds like a good headline, they will go with it. So Trump was the master of that. That's how he got elected, by nationally just go on national television and say a whole bunch of clickbait stuff, and then that expanded his name out there to people taking him legit seriously because he said a lot of stuff that people clickbait on. I mean, DeSantis is using the same formula.
Yeah.
He's taking his little survey polls, see what people like to say, and then he goes out and says it. And then,
Yeah.
I mean, I would say it was a winning strategy until you saw his latest poll numbers.
Yeah.
Against Trump.
Until Trump really
So,
called him out. The only person that could take him down is the other person they worship. So, and he's much better at being aggressive than DeSantis. DeSantis is like, I don't know. I don't think he would ever have a chance in real life against Trump.
Well, DeSantis is cucked.
Yeah, exactly.
By Trump.
DeSantis just
So-
doesn't have the sauce.
You don't got the
Like
sauce. He ain't got the
he
juice.
doesn't have the same
Got it.
personality.
He's not good with the sauce.
He's not good with the sauce.
what is
You
the
don't go.
sauce?
It's just a young people thing. It's just
What is-
like, he ain't got the juice. He doesn't have the energy.
He doesn't have the juice. Oh, he's Jeb
He
2.0.
doesn't have like
Yeah.
the special quality. Yeah,
Please-
it's Jeb
please clap.
2.0.
Please clap.
Jesse, didn't you used to be a Jeb supporter?
I was a Jeb supporter.
It's okay. I was a
No.
Ben Carson supporter.
Oh, me
Oh,
too.
wow.
Yeah.
You were a Ben Carson supporter? Okay.
I mean,
That's
I was
cool.
like 15.
Yeah.
When was Jeb Bush the governor of Florida? It was 19.
19? I don't
Yeah,
think
it
it
was
was that long
19.
ago, was it?
Yeah, I was one of those kids.
No, I feel
It
like
was
Jeb
like
Bush.
1994, I think. He was a
Maybe.
governor.
I thought it was later than that.
I think my guy when I was like a conservative in like the 2015 cycle was Chris Christie. That was my guy.
Really?
Yeah.
Interesting.
I
No
I
like
actually
way.
like Chris Christie.
Yeah, he's
I
probably.
never met
weird.
anyone who likes Chris Christie.
That's what I was thinking.
Well, I liked him for that one clip where he was like talking to Marco Rubio and like,
Marco
exposing
Rubio?
him for the same line that he kept saying
Over
over
and
and
over?
again.
Oh,
And then
Jeb
Mark-
Bush was
he
governor
was stuck on
99 to
replay.
2007.
Huh?
Jeb Bush was governor 99 to 2007.
99.
Because
okay,
because I
it was
knew
longer.
he was the governor in charge during the 2020 election or the
He
20
was,
election, which is
yes.
or 2000 election, which is why it was
Right.
like so questionable that Florida ended up being like, I don't know, probably
so-
not actually won by George Bush.
He was governor when I was in school. So I was in the 6th grade when he was governor,
Yeah.
6th or 7th grade. So, you grew up the governor, that's the governor in school. So as I became 18, 19, I'm becoming this new politically person that's paying attention. I'm like, it wasn't so bad when he was the governor when I was like 12. So
Yeah.
I didn't really have any responsibility.
Like he loved America.
Yeah.
I used
that's all
to
knew
worship
about
Bush.
politics. Yeah, and
Like
he
the-
was actually more moderate than a lot of people give him. I know
Yeah.
that people say he's conservative, but he's really moderate. So I thought he would be a good president. But Trump definitely kind of killed that wagon.
Yeah.
So, and I think he's gonna do the same thing to DeSantis because DeSantis doesn't come from the same cloth as Jeb because Jeb is more moderate and Jeb is actually more educated, as you can tell.
Yeah.
But he, for the most part, I think that he's trying to beat Trump, and you're not going to beat the master.
Yeah.
Like that whole term, like the student can never beat the master.
You can't beat him at his own game.
I mean,
Yeah,
every
He'd have to redefine the game.
Mhm.
I mean everything from the way he talks to the hand motions that he does. He's trying his best
Yeah.
to copy everything that Trump does, and he just can't. You can't do it. You can't.
That's a great. That's exactly how he does it. This act.
You gotta have the hand. You gotta have the
Yeah,
hands, and you gotta
exactly.
do the thing. You gotta have the hands.
You gotta have the hands.
And you
and
gotta
make
talk
sure-
like 3 words at a time. Like
yeah, this woke politics.
yeah. Good point.
I mean, it's cute. It's cute.
Imagine
But
thinking going after Disney is a winning strategy, though.
Yeah.
Like,
What a
Yeah.
not
dingus.
thinking any of this through.
The mouse always wins.
Always.
Haven't you seen
Yeah.
Tom and Jerry?
Yes.
Ron
what?
and Jerry. Oh my god.
I think that was the
yeah.
biggest political misstep was to go after the mouse because
Or
the mouse,
Trump.
because the mouse is the Trump thing was bad, but
Yeah.
going after the mouse is like, okay, there's no Democrat, Republican, everyone goes to Disney, Republicans or Disney or Democrats, we all go to Disney, and so people are like, okay, why are you going after this company? Because as Republicans, they don't like it because they're corporate America.
Yeah.
And then Democrats, we don't like it because we're like, well, why are you going after trans rights? We don't get it. So you're kind of making both parties upset by doing
Right.
this, and it's just killing them.
And
Well,
they're Go ahead.
There's always been this like very niche group of conservative evangelicals that hate Disney for some reason, and it's
Yeah.
due to to many different reasons. Like they promote magic, or they
Oh
they do
yeah.
like
My
they do,
parents.
they do like gay shit, or like I think they think
Yeah.
that like
Yeah.
Walt Disney was gay, or maybe he was. I don't even know. But like,
Man, he was,
but I heard that growing up in like my church community, like people just didn't like Disney because they saw it as promoting, like gay magic stuff.
We could watch like
Yeah.
Disney movies, but my mom banned the Disney Channel from us like watching
really?
like yeah,
Wow.
like teen shows.
Yeah,
She's like, and we couldn't watch SpongeBob.
well, that was
Oh.
other reasons for SpongeBob, but
So for those people, seeing DeSantis attack Disney like this is a good thing. They see this as him bringing a positive to the state of Florida.
Yeah,
because
he's probably trying to
attacking
take
Disney.
the Christian base because Trump is the one that's like,
Yeah,
he's kind of going after the Christian.
it's not going to work, but
Yeah, of course.
No,
It's
well, you
not
can go
not
after the
good enough.
Christian base, but the Christian base right now is not voting based on Christianity.
No, of course
They're-
not. Yeah. Well, they
they're
vote
voting
based on like who's supporting their group. You know
their
what I mean?
group, and they're going to go with Trump.
Yeah.
I mean, after what's that weird guy name that had like the threesome? He was like a church pastor, but
Oh, Jerry Falwell.
that guy.
Yeah,
I watched the
Jerry
Hulu
Falwell.
special
I
of
know
that
all the
guy.
names.
Yeah, you're on it tonight,
I
Seth.
actually almost went to Liberty University. So
You did?
yeah, when I
Oh
was
man,
me
When I
too.
was
I got
Everybody
the
thought I went to
letters.
Liberty.
bro, I visited.
Oh,
Oh
no.
man, I was so close.
Oh,
man,
Would
you
be
gotta
too
watch
much
gonna-
money
Hulu
too.
stuff.
Were you gonna follow the Liberty Creed, the student
I
code of
w-
conduct?
I think I was a libertarian at that point too, so I don't think I would have. But yeah, that would have been rough. I would have hated it. But it is a very beautiful campus. I can't deny that. But
Man, you guys gotta watch that Hulu doc on that.
yeah,
It was crazy because because I'm from Miami, so
Mhm.
it's like has some Miami ties to it. It was
Oh yeah.
very interesting little doc there. Man, those people are very freaky and weird.
Oh yeah. I'm freaked out by them.
Yeah, they're very freaking weird. But watch the doc.
Talking about Liberty students.
No, not the students.
Oh,
the
I
actual
was.
president, Jimmy Falwell. No, I don't know about the students.
Bro,
They're
they
good
are.
American Christians.
I mean,
They
I
have,
would
like-
imagine a bunch of like sheltered Christian kids would be a little freaking weird.
Yeah, they all have like mandatory like prayer groups in there. They have like they have like a church session they all go to like all the time. And it's wild. I wouldn't be able to do it. But it's not as bad as like Pensacola Christian.
I
you
never
guys
heard
know about that?
BYU.
Bro, that's in Florida. Bro, they literally men and women can't be on the same sidewalk. They have to walk on a different sidewalk. Dead ass.
Pensacola is not far from where I am right now.
I know, that's why I thought you would have heard of
Really?
it. My
I've
mom-
heard of Pensacola Christian before.
Yeah, my mom's friend went there. It's literally that insane. Like
I can't do that.
yeah, no, of course.
I would have
not.
went to hell like 10 times back in high school because that's all I did in high school was chase girls around. So I would have been like,
Yeah.
you're going to hell, sir.
No, they
So-
probably think we're all going to hell for sure.
Yeah.
No, yeah, even at one of the private religious schools one of my friends went to, he got fined for being alone in a dorm room with his girlfriend. Like they each got fined $50 or something, just because that was against the rules.
That's wild.
Worth it.
I mean, yeah.
Like not doing anything, just literally being in a room.
Babe, I'd pay $50 to spend time with you.
That's the love and dedication I have for you. $50 well spent there.
Yeah.
All right, let's move
I do
on.
think that it was literally like Pensacola Christian was literally like you have to like advise like the administration if you get a girlfriend or something like that, and you can't spend any time alone. Like you
Like
have
it's
to like have
HR
a
or
chaperone if you go on a
Ima-
date. Like that's the
Imagine
America
paying
they
like
want.
thousands of dollars to have like a fucking nanny tell you what to do. Like
Yeah. The
go
mom
into
is like, I can't be there, so
crippling
You know what
student
happened?
debt just so you can get like an extra set of parents to tell you.
Yeah.
You know what happens? Like you're in high school, right? And no one's really fully developed. But then you get into college, like both sexes are fully developed, and you're like, wait, why did I go here? I don't understand.
Yeah.
So you start breaking the rules and paying all these fines, but because you made a decision back in high school, that was idiotic.
that's how I feel. I mean, like obviously I said I almost went to Liberty. I also joined like the National Guard, and I hate authority. And for like 6 months they're like, maybe gonna let me in, but like I had medical waivers and stuff I had to get past, and I got disqualified eventually. But I would have been having the worst time of my life, having some guy telling me what to do every day, making me do push-ups, making me I'm insomniac, making me wake up at 4 a.m. Like I dodged a bullet there.
Do your bed. That's what you'd be doing.
Yeah, I couldn't do it. I only
All
did
right.
to impress my dad, basically, because he was
Yeah.
in the National Guard like 14 years. But I would
It's a
have
cool,
gotten to college for free, but whatever.
it's a cool story to write. All right. So moving on to the next topic, we're going to talk about Tucker Carlson's new show.
Oh, Tucker Carlson? Yeah.
Tucker Carlson. He's going social. He has officially apparently relaunched the show, a conservative show on Twitter. Obviously, you guys know in the national media, you guys, well, let me explain for those who don't know. Tucker Carlson, well, it all started with a defamation case, going back to the legal world. A defamation case caused Fox to pay almost $700 million. And defamation
Well, they
law.
did pay that. They almost had to pay. It was double that, right? It was gonna be like 1.5
It's
billion.
gonna be 1.5. They
Yeah.
settled with 780 million, which they paid, by the way, because they just had their last reported quarter. They took a big loss,
Yeah.
but they did pay it.
Plus, they got rid of their main guy, so I can't imagine they last long.
Yeah, so they fired Tucker Carlson because it was really stemming off of his defamation. Because he said something to the effect in deposition where he was saying that he really didn't like Trump and he thought Trump was an idiot, but he was not, obviously he's in the news business, but obviously it wasn't true. He kept saying he believed Trump and Trump was everything in public view, but in reality it wasn't the truth. And so, long story short, they got hit with defamation suit. He got fired, and now
That's why he got fired. I thought it was because like his beef with Rupert Murdoch, where like I read like Rupert Murdoch's like wife is a big fan, and like he's like, oh, Tucker Carlson's taking the show and too Christian of an area or something. He's not talking about business enough, and my wife hates him, so he's gonna cancel the show because that's what I heard at least. Because like I don't know. I heard it was not to do with defamation thing, but maybe I'm wrong.
It
Well,
could be that.
there's no real announced reason why.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
It's all just speculation at this point.
Yeah, I'm going with the fact that he lost them $800 million.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah, that would make sense.
Well, I think
Wait,
what you said
that
about
was the verdict of the defamation lawsuit. It was because of Tucker Carlson.
no,
I thought it was
no,
like
no,
the
no, no.
entirety of Fox News.
The entirety of Fox News. It was a settlement.
including stuff that Tucker Carlson said on air.
Sure.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Was mentioned in the lawsuit.
So
I guess I didn't read it that much.
yeah. So that, long story short, his show got canceled, and he's coming back. I guess this is political comeback, and he's launching a Twitter show solely on Twitter.
How's
That's
that
how-
going to work though?
I don't know how it's gonna work. Maybe you might get a blue chip, and then be
Well, he
verified.
definitely will, but I think he actually has like a yellow check, which is even cooler. But
There's a yellow check now.
yeah, there's a yellow check. I think they mean different things, like different. It's not like higher. It's just like this is somebody in government. This is somebody in
A public figure.
entertainment. Yeah, they have a couple
Okay.
different colors, I guess. But I don't understand why he's just doing it on Twitter. He's definitely just doing it on Twitter. He's not even doing like Rumble or something that can offer
Like-
him money.
Patreon or something. Or...
Yeah, that's what I'm
No,
just.
I mean, from my understanding, it's just on Twitter. I mean, right now you gotta understand he's pretty toxic because he literally
Yeah.
got caught lying. To
But he's also like the most valuable conservative commentator. Like he would
Right.
bring revenue to anybody that got him. So I'm sure they don't give a shit.
But what's the major conservative platforms out right now?
Well, other than Fox News, probably like OAN and
Newsmax.
Newsmax.
Daily Wire for sure.
Oh yeah,
But
true.
they wouldn't be able to pay him nearly the amount of money that he would be worth to a company. Like
I wonder what he
ad
is
revenue
worth because
wise.
I know they tried to pay Steven Crowder like 10 million.
But you can't. But what's Twitter giving him? Nothing. It's
That's what I'm saying. Though. I
It's
don't
like-
understand.
But
Are
do
you
we
sure
know
they
that-
said just on Twitter, or did he just announce it on Twitter?
no. It was.
No, they said it's on Twitter. Yeah.
Yeah, it's only
Yeah,
on
I'm
Twitter.
pretty sure it is just on Twitter.
That's weird. But maybe he's trying to do that because he knows that Elon won't like regulate him or something like that. Like Elon will help spread his news quicker or something, or he doesn't have to answer to the administration. I'm sure
Or-
it's something like that.
Or maybe all this, including the reason why he got fired, is because he got caught lying. Like he said, he was lying about liking Trump and believing all the election lies. Maybe that's why he couldn't get hired on at Newsmax or OAN, because they realized that he was full of shit.
Yeah.
And his viewers,
Yeah, but they know they're full
obviously
of shit,
heard his
right?
viewers. No. Well, him being full of shit, like him not actually believing what he's saying. You know, like
Yeah.
I'm sure
He's just performative.
In their minds, you know, their viewers still believe that what they're saying is what they actually mean. But all these Trump viewers now know that Tucker Carlson didn't actually believe all the stuff he was saying.
Do they think that though? Maybe I'm not on conservative Twitter, but I'm sure that they're just like it's
Well,
another little
there
lie.
are still the
It
people that
doesn't
believe.
seem like they care.
Yeah, that's more what I expected. Like I didn't think that they'd really like. I'm not gonna watch Tucker Carlson now because I don't believe that. But maybe I'm wrong.
Well, I don't know
I guess
if people don't. Well, you understand they have an independent audience too. They can't just ignore the independents. They like it's not just solely conservative. They do have independent audiences, and
conservative independents. But
yeah, independents do care about that. You know, independents do care about being trustworthy and stuff like that. I don't know if you've seen recently. Even Trump is going on CNN now, back to CNN, because there's an independent audience that he has to win back if he has any shot of running for president.
CNN's going to let him back on?
Yeah, I think he had an interview with, I don't know what's her name. I think it's Katie Couric.
Oh, Katie Couric. Are you? Is it what's her name? She's the conservative one. Whatever.
Laura Ingraham?
No.
No,
on CNN. Is Lauren Ingram's on CNN?
No,
Caitlin Cotlin. Caitlin Collin, I think that's how you pronounce it.
Maybe I don't know who that is.
Anyways,
I thought CNN was gonna like not platform him anymore, but maybe they just care about money too. They just want views.
They're under new management now, so they've like been there's a new push at CNN to like be more moderate.
But you know what CNN's doing? They're I don't know if he's replacing Don Lemon, but they're having Charles Barkley as a host.
Oh, that's interesting.
You didn't know about that one?
Well, don't they have?
Yeah, they're having Charles Barkley's going to be a host, and he's going to be like, I don't know. It's going to be interesting to see how if he's like shoots from the gun, shoots from the hip. I meant, like,
does that.
Says the truth, or if he just starts to get like moderated by the CNN people. It would be interesting to see. I'd love to hear him just talk shit on CNN. That would be really fun.
What are you saying, Justice?
Yeah, sorry.
We losing?
I don't think Justice was going to say. I was just going to say. I think it's absolutely shameful that CNN will even allow Trump to even talk on their platform.
That's why I'm surprised.
Given that platform in the first place, it's just absolutely shameful for them.
Yeah, because they kind of helped him get elected.
Right.
Yeah, they did.
No. People like CNN and MSNBC making fun of Trump in the primary is why he won the primary, and then in general.
Yeah. I definitely.
Because people didn't
nothing.
But people took that as a laughing at the American people. And so he got the empathetic vote because people are like, well, you're just the problem that most Americans have, and something we have to also work on as progressive, is anointing people. Mm-hmm. And America has a very, very, just in general, independence, we have a very negative view at appointments, an anointing of people, someone. This is why Hillary Clinton lost. We do not like that in our politics, and it's like we're a rebellious country, so wherever you're saying that's the guy, we're like, no, we're going the other way.
Right.
I low-key think RFK is going to beat Biden somehow, just because of like this exact thing you're talking about, the anointing thing, and they're talking about New Hampshire is going to like really mess up Joe Biden's what's it called, momentum. They're talking about because Biden's like, it used to be New Hampshire written into the Constitution, their state constitution, that they have to be first in primary or something like that. And he's not polling well, and they all hate him because he's like taking away their thing. In New Hampshire, it's like, I don't know. They're still going to try to do their primary like the same time. So I think we could see them going for RFK or Marianne over Biden, and then everybody's going to be confused, and we'll see what happens.
I don't think no one has the political guts to go against them. But I think if you ask me, someone should run against him. Like I do not, and I like Biden because he's done a lot of progressive things, but I do not think that people want an 82-year-old president. I'm just of the belief that they do not, and it's not that I'm ageist or anything. It's just that people see that and they're like, "You're 80," and it's like most people want their president to be around 50, 60. 80
Right,
is a little
but
bit too far.
they won't go vote in the primaries.
They
Yeah.
won't vote in the primaries.
No.
You're right. They won't.
So people aren't going to go in the primaries to vote for Biden, but people will go to the primaries to vote against him. And
I don't think they will.
You don't think so? I think.
No, I mean
think
he won the primary in 2020, even though everyone disliked him. Or
yeah, but
everyone
it
who
was
wasn't.
also like the people. He didn't win a majority of the votes. Most of the people were split. It was split 30 ways, not literally 30 ways,
Yeah.
but you see what I mean.
Yeah.
So if it's it's one or two against him, I could definitely see like him getting like 40%, and then they get like blah 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 blah. He might even have the most, but it'll be enough to raise questions.
How old is
That maybe
Biden right now?
how old is
Too
Biden?
old.
He's probably 79 or 78, right?
He's 80. He'll be 81
Is he?
this year.
Oh my
Yeah.
goodness.
Isn't Trump older?
Yeah, no, younger. Like 3 years.
Bernie's older though.
Bernie's older than no way.
Is he? Bernie's older than Biden
Right?
But younger people like Bernie more than Biden, though.
because
you know?
Bernie's still got
even
the
though Bernie's
juice.
older.
He's 81. He looks like he's still got the juice. You're right.
Still
But because Biden doesn't look like he has the juice. But the problem is, so Biden would be 81 this year. So
He's still laughing at the juice.
I'm gonna use that now. I'm gonna use that.
yeah, the juice is a good, nice.
Right.
By the time Biden gets out of office, he'll be 86 years old. And I think that's
wild.
that is a problem. And I don't think that's
That's
going to
wild.
sit well with a lot of people. It's like 86 years old.
But if you're looking at a general election versus Trump, who's going to win the nomination, whether we like it or not,
Yeah,
he's
it's true.
you know, that's enough. He is enough to beat him, I think. Unfortunately.
Yeah, well, and that's why I'm worried because I'm like, I feel like a young person versus Trump that has Biden's message could do better. The name ID does, hurt whoever runs against Trump because Trump has a bigger name ID. But
Then Biden?
then no, someone with the primary Biden. And
I checked out for like 3 seconds.
No. So I was saying if someone with a primary Biden and when they would have a name ID issue. National.
What if the Ramaswamy or whatever his last name is? What if he wins?
Rama who?
Oh, he's
I know he's got like
Who?
15% though.
he's 100%
What's
a
his name?
grifter.
Oh, Vivek. My bad. I thought his first name was
Vivek.
Rami.
Help me spell it. What is it?
Vivek.
Vivek.
And then
V-I-V-
Ramaswamy.
Ramaswamy, I think. Yeah.
Ramaswamy.
Yeah, he's like he's like the RFK of the left right now, not in like any meaningful fashion other than he just kind of came out of nowhere and people know about him just because he's running for president.
He went to Harvard. He went to Yale. I've never even heard of this guy.
He was I sent you a video. He was debating like Don Lemon. That was like one of the very last
Oh,
interviews.
yeah.
Oh,
He's-
yes.
he's-
That's in that video.
Yeah, he's
Don
like,
Lemon video.
That's
He
what
didn't
got
seem
Don Lemon
like he was-
fired, right?
what was that?
That's what got him fired, I think.
Yeah.
Oh, maybe yes. It was something to do with that, right?
Yeah.
Because he
Yeah.
like was
Supposedly.
ignoring the moderators or something.
Yeah.
Well,
he's
because
smart.
what Vivek was saying was so ridiculous that he had to
Yeah.
challenge him on it. I think it was reasonable of him.
Well,
Yeah, he was like, wait, what was he saying again? It was about systemic racism doesn't exist or like we're already at equal opportunity, some bullshit like that.
Yeah, he was going off about like, oh, I wish we could just have this conversation as human beings and not, bring up the fact that you're black as if that might be relevant to the conversation about anti-black racism.
Oh yeah, that was part of it for sure.
And
Well,
he
do
was
we-
saying that the NRA advanced gun rights for black people, which is just
Oh yeah,
100%
crazy
ahistorical. That
shit.
is made up.
Oh,
The
that was
opposite of how anything happened.
He probably saw the picture of Harriet Tubman with a gun, and he's like, "Black women, gun, NRA." Boom. That's how it works.
The
Well, do we
NRA is
honestly
the
think he
only
stands a
gun
chance
rights
again?
organization.
Biden? Do you think he stands a chance?
Who?
RFK.
Feedback?
RFK?
Oh, RFK.
I don't think so.
All right,
I
so
didn't
here's the
know who he
thing.
was.
RFK is playing perfectly into like the independent line of thinking. First of all, he's a Kennedy, which is it gives him 15% automatically, whatever. And the things that he's moderate on are the things that the Democrats are like,
Okay, this is
I
good.
don't know, not as in touch, or at least they're ahead of everybody else. Where it's just like they Democrats easily criticize him on vaccine stuff and how they reacted because he's super anti-vax. He'll be like touching with those, like the independent people that are, they're not left or right, but they don't like how the Democrats who are, oh, they're trying to make us ban or make us wear masks and like forcing people to get vaccinated. And then he's also like a turf where he's like not on board with trans rights and stuff. So he's looking like a moderate or something like that, really independent, willing to buck the establishment or something like that. But he's an establishment family, so he's got the name recognition too.
An
So
Well-
anti-establishment Kennedy.
plus he's
Well,
also talking
funny.
about how like the CIA took out his dad and stuff like that, which
Yeah.
I think I can see how independents and conservatives are like, oh, this guy's
Wow.
for real. But
Well,
he's not a great
Marianne had to
talker.
walk back the vaccine stuff because of the Democratic base. Like he's not going to win the Democratic base, spewing the vaccine bullshit.
Yeah, I don't think
So-
he's really gonna win, but I could see how that would. But it's just more about how unlikable Biden is, and he's a Kennedy that I could see.
Right.
I'm not sure that it would be necessarily he'd win because of the vaccine thing, but that could get him enough of like independents to come in the primary that it would be like people would be like, hey, wait, should we think about Kennedy instead of Biden? I could see it that way, but
I think they would need to work together, Marianne Williamson, Robert Kennedy, and debate each other,
interesting.
and that will give me the attention.
I definitely think they should do that regardless, because if
It's-
Biden's
It's
not
not
gonna
going to
hold
be
it,
debates.
yeah, which is some
You don't think so?
bullshit. Well, didn't they
Well,
announce?
Yeah, they've already announced there's not going to be debates because
Well, the
It could
Democratic
change.
Party.
because Joe Biden is the president. So
It could
he's going to
change,
be the
but
incumbent.
What I'm
Yeah.
saying is they can circumvent that and just start
yeah,
going on CNN, do a town hall.
yeah, they
Them-
probably
Right.
do a town hall.
They debate each other, and then that would in turn raise up their national profile
Yeah,
if they debate each
I
other.
could see it at a point where they get enough attention that Biden feels like he has to jump in the debates, but I don't know. Yeah, I doubt his advisors would let him do it,
I
even
doubt
in
that
that
would ever
situation.
happen.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
I
just
think
don't. Yeah, go ahead, Zach.
I respect the kind of the will or the want to like see someone else be the nominee for the Democrats, but like it's just not going to happen. I mean, it's going to be Joe
Yeah, I
Biden versus
agree.
Trump again in 2024.
what
We're going to
if
see the
what if a completely unmentioned person is polling? I mean, we can see how Biden's polling behind Trump in certain situations now. Like it's starting to, his polling is not looking good. He's getting like 35% approval rating, stuff like really bad shit. So like, what if all of a sudden JB Pritzker, which is somebody I feel like I heard people saying the establishment is still pushing, with all of his accomplishments, like all of a sudden he's polling like 54% against Trump. What if they like kind of like find a way to, tell it Biden he should step down because of age, and then he gets
Right.
replaced in the last second? I could see like even the donors having enough control over Biden to make him step down in that situation.
I mean, the idea of like an incumbent president not running for the nomination or like not even like winning the nomination is
Yeah.
like so just unprecedented. Like it's
That's
just,
true.
there has to be something so overwhelming to suggest that could be a possibility.
Well, what if he's literally like bedridden or something?
I mean, that's very possible.
Yeah.
That is very possible.
That's probably
I
the
think-
best
I
chance.
think
of
we never had a president this old to ask
True.
yourself that question.
We have had a president die a month into office, though.
Yes.
Well, imagine, let's say in like, a year from now or less, in the campaign, Joe Biden is better and can't run. Kamala is going to run and she's probably going to win because, oh, look, vice president, like
I don't know if she can beat
she's the next in line.
Well, if Joe Biden doesn't run, there's no chance nobody else jumps in the or like everybody else will jump in the race too. Although that
True.
gives her the advantage because they will be split. So unless the DNC sets up like JB Pritzker against to go head to head against Kamala or something like that, yeah, we're probably screwed no matter what. It's gonna be Biden or Kamala, like 80% chance,
Right.
probably higher.
Well, we're 100% screwed if Joe Biden's not better.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's gonna be
The best
interesting.
chance is him surviving all 4 years, and then it doesn't have to be Kamala, but still,
That's
Kamala
I mean,
Harris for 8 years is not great.
I know. Okay, I'm not gonna say I'm an expert with the elderly because I'm not. But every month, every year, it's like a different form. Let me say this a different way. I've witnessed people who are very healthy at 74, and at 75 they are very, very sick, or like
Yeah,
3 months later. And that's the risk that we run with older presidents.
we
Like,
don't know
yeah,
how well
now,
he's doing right now.
yeah, like who's to say like 1 month into it he's like bedridden, can't think, and then just like I just think people, the American people, are not going to sit well with having a president that old.
Yeah,
Um,
even if he tries to run and he's clearly like not even healthy, fit to be. Sorry, I was thinking it too. Uh, that's not for
yeah,
anybody to
continue.
know.
Yeah, continue.
Oh boy, I forgot what I was saying. I don't know. The people
My
aren't gonna
bad.
vote. People aren't gonna vote for an actual carcass, even if he's alive. You know what I mean? I
Yeah,
can't imagine somebody else.
Well, they
Even some.
did.
No, we didn't, but we did. I mean, he could talk well enough to convince people that like, no, I'm all right. I'm all right, Americans.
It's just
Here-
malarkey, Jack. I'm
here's,
alive.
here's why I don't think he's all right. Look, his announcement video to run for president again
Yeah.
was taped and very rehearsed.
Oh yeah, it was the actual like background that was all very cool, but like if you just isolated that without the music in the background, he's like, "We gotta do better, and we're gonna do better this time,
That's
America,"
it.
and it just wasn't very like coherent or anything. It just
That's why. That's why I don't think he's really gonna real. That's why I don't know if he's really fit to do it again. And I don't.
he's definitely not fit.
Yeah, like he's gonna be on a campaign trail. Really, I don't think he's gonna be on a campaign trail like that. I think he's gonna go to a general, do 2 or 3 debates, and do 2 or 3 debates. Glad we got clarification on that. But do 2 or 3 debates, and then after that, he's gonna hope he wins. But to see, you think he's gonna
Yeah.
be stomping? He's not gonna be stomping.
He's still kind of banking on the fact he won because he didn't
Mhm.
have to actually campaign on anything because it was a pandemic, so he could just literally
Right.
sit in his basement. So I can't imagine to see. Oh, it's such a bad look for the party, and they could do
Yeah.
literally so much better.
Not only is he going to be complacent, but his staffers, the people behind his campaign, are also going to be complacent. Because what they did in 2020 is very similar to what they did in 2016. Is we're fine. We're facing Trump. Trump is he's not going to win. Whatever.
Yep.
Like it's going to be the exact same thing. They're gonna
Yeah,
fuck it up again.
I feel like they're not. I feel like they gotta recognize how. Oh, Justice is leaving.
All right,
It's all right.
Justin. You
It's
want
a
to get
Bye,
on
big
your
Justice.
Twitter
pleasure.
handle? Any final message before you leave?
Yeah, follow me on Twitter, everyone. Always a pleasure talking with you guys, and
It's this just
hopefully catch you next time.
This is just.
Yeah,
Okay.
you tagged me.
Yeah, I'll
Awesome.
tag you in the video.
All right, man. Have a good night.
Sweet.
All right,
Have a
we'll
good
we'll
night.
see you soon, buddy. Have a good
All
night.
right, see ya.
All right.
All right,
you're
there's
saying stuff?
Justice.
Yeah. Were you saying stuff?
I don't remember.
But yeah, so it's gonna be one of those. I am worried that he. I am worried. I'm concerned that he's at an age where I don't think the American people are going to accept that him to become president. I don't see him through his eye. Excuse me, it's getting late. I don't see him actually being able to get out the young vote. I don't see him being able to actually even get out the old vote. It's just like I just
Yeah.
don't see him getting out any vote. And I think what's going to happen is people who are D's are going to vote D, and the people who are Republicans are going to vote Republicans. And I think independents are going to look at it, it's like he's 82 or he's 83 years old, and they're going to look at that and it's like, yeah, that's a little bit too old.
What do you guys honestly think about if somebody like Matthew McConaughey were to run for president in this cycle?
I think he could win.
I think
Honestly,
he could too.
this
That's what
might be the first time I think an independent could actually win the presidency.
I kind of agree. Because even more so, people are less enthused about Hillary or Trump because we've already had Trump and we've had Biden already. So
Yeah.
both in 2016 we hated them, but at least they were both fresh and we didn't know what they would do. We've had both presidencies so far. We know exactly what they will look like. And I could definitely see like the hope and change candidate being completely. Oh man, if McConaughey won, or ran, I think he could actually win. Like him or Dwayne Johnson. I don't think. I
The
feel like
Rock.
Dwayne Johnson wouldn't mess with the money, and he wouldn't mess with the Democrats. I feel like, but
Yeah.
somebody with that kind of prominence.
It had to be it had to be someone with a big name ID,
Hmm.
like a celebrity. Um,
It won't be like
and
RFK or anything, but
Like
nah,
I wish I were right,
it has to be
but
a celebrity.
it's gonna be a Democrat or a Republican. It's gonna
yeah, it's gonna be
be
Yeah,
more
yeah.
Republican. But
it's gonna be Biden or Trump, and that's just the way it's gonna be, unfortunately.
Yeah, yeah. I don't. I said this is the best shot independent has to
yeah,
doing it ever. If it ever is going to happen, it's going to be this election cycle. But you're right. Most people vote DNR. I mean, that's just the way
but I
our
guess
politics.
it's obviously very speculative because we don't have that person, or at least. But I just feel like even 2020, we had a bunch of people who announced for like even Amash was running for like a couple weeks, and like just people might stick their toe out in the water, and like we'll see what happens. I could see
Well,
people being more motivated than ever, at least.
Like in a political world without ranked choice voting, we're never gonna see any sort of like real momentum for anybody
yeah,
that's not a
you're
person in
right.
one of the two parties.
Have we
Yeah,
had it really tested this situation though? I feel like I don't
yeah.
know. We
Ross
haven't seen
Perot.
Well,
somebody with that kind of
there was
Yeah,
some
Ross
pretty
Perot.
decent momentum for Ross Perot, like you said. Also,
yeah.
Yeah.
I
True.
think the Johnson campaign had a lot of momentum for sure, but like you're
Which
never gonna
Johnson?
Gary
the
Johnson.
2016
Yeah, Gary Johnson's.
campaign.
Yeah,
Oh, Gary Johnson. Yeah, that was pretty.
The
I mean, he had
most
4 million votes,
right, like
that was
the
the most
most
ever.
percentage of the votes for a third party
but
in
you'd still have to buy into libertarian values, which I think like any
right.
independent with just like basic center of the road American values could win if they have youth and charisma.
But if you believe the libertarians, which I used to, they
Yeah.
think that people that are in the Democrats and Republicans lean that way, but they
Sure.
choose not to vote for a third party because the third party is never going to win. And in a political landscape with first past the post and no ranked choice voting, they're not going to vote. No one's going to vote their party unless they
Well, I
absolutely.
think third party is less likely to win than somebody running as independent.
What's the difference? I mean, it's just the same
Well, I think that
concept.
people, if somebody ran as a green, even if they had all the right values, they're going to have to all the history of being a green and all the Green Party failures with that. Nobody's going to be like, a green's never won. An independent, it's like, oh, I represent me. I don't represent a party. I represent you Americans. I'm Matthew McConaughey, and you could represent donors. I don't know.
Well, then
You
the
don't have
problem
the baggage of another party.
the
To
problem is money. It comes down to it. Like
Oh, that would be a great investment for donors to bet against Trump and Biden for Matthew McConaughey or something. I feel like he would get a lot of money.
yeah, but can a third party raise like 20 million, 40 million?
No,
Matthew
It's hard.
McConaughey, he might. Maybe
Uh,
not as a
I
libertarian, but
don't
I think
think
as an
I don't
independent,
think he can do that. How much money does it take to win that first primary? I
he
think it's
probably
like
has that much money.
well, if you're an independent, you wouldn't have to waste money on a primary. You just
Exactly, he's saving
just
it.
try to get ballot access in all the 50 states. And
That's
yeah,
part of
but
the
that's hard to do to get ballot access in all 50 states, and that's not even a guarantee you'll win.
Matthew McConaughey could do it.
It's
Yeah,
no,
maybe get like 47 of them.
I think he would need to find a ticket to. I don't know if he'll run as a Democrat or Republican, but he would need to find. He would need to pick one, Democrat or Republican, and then he would need to win the first state, and whatever primary that is, and then people will take him seriously. But if he doesn't win the first state and he can't raise any money, I mean, I think Kamala Harris, she raised $20 million, and she was a U.S. senator, and she still couldn't raise enough money out of the first state. I think.
Yeah,
And
but
correct me
again,
if
the vote was split 30 ways. So
yeah, I think. Correct me if I'm wrong. It was like $40 million that the candidates were running had to they they had to raise in that first primary, and I think Cory Booker was like one of the worst ones, with like $7 million.
I mean, think about like the kind of momentum that somebody that famous would bring, and like how if he ran on like, I just care about American values and I'm not bought and I need all you people to raise money for me. I feel like he could get like a grassroots base of like
He would, but
tens of millions of people donating to him, and like
he,
that would
he
bring enough attention that more people would donate. I don't know. Maybe I'm too much of a believer, but I
the
just really
Yeah, I
first,
think
want
so.
something to happen.
oh, yeah, you are a big Matthew McConaughey believer, but no, but the thing about campaigning, it's not so much the money. Money is a very important aspect of it, but it's the connection piece. You need a lot of experience of doing that because there's so many different groups, there's so many different issues, there's so many different fashion of even the Democratic Party that you have to be versed in that, and that's why it's really
Yeah.
hard for a newbie to come in and try to win presidency. We saw this with Pete Buttigieg. He did well till he came to the Deep South,
True.
and the black vote just he couldn't get it.
Well,
Came
I
in,
think primaries are different because you have to like represent. You have to be more. You don't have to go through any sort of red tape to run as an independent. You can just do it. While in a primary, you do have to cater to the establishment of your party, and you have to cater to Democratic donors specifically, and they care about his experience, especially when you're running against somebody with experience. I
but
think
then you
that
have to
his
really,
message wouldn't be that he's experiences. It's like these people have been washed. They've been in the system for too long. Biden's this old, and he's
but
I don't know.
you have to outraise the Democratic Republican Party by double.
Would you have to outraise them? Because I
Yeah,
feel like I don't think so. I think just
because
being a third option, they're going to waste a bunch of money anyways, and people already know who Biden and Trump are. I think you just have to raise enough money to get attention, and I think
you
he
have
would get
to
enough attention.
well you have to change the Democrats because there's a lot of voters that they just vote D, no
Yeah,
matter who's on the ticket. There's a lot of Republicans who just vote R, no matter who's on the ticket. Now you have to convince those type of voters to go independent, and so now that is a tall task, and that's why nobody has ever won because you have to spend almost twice as much money as the Democrats and the Republican parties to kind of bleed above the noise. Like I said, the only person that could really do it, that I thought could do it, if he lost the Republican primary in 2016, would have been Trump. If he
yeah.
lost, but it's very hard when you're not a celebrity to do that.
Well, that's what I'm saying. If we had a
Matthew McConaughey may
celebrity,
have a fair shot, but he would have to at least he would have to outraise the Democrats and the Republicans by double.
I mean, did Ross Perot? I know he didn't win, but when he
Yeah.
was polling at his highest, was he outraising the other candidates, or was he just another
Um,
option? I
Ross
feel like I'm
Perot.
based like most of his campaign is a good example of what could happen, even though there's a lot more laws created to prevent this now, like the debate threshold, stuff like that between the two parties. But I don't know. I just feel like when they had a third person taking it seriously on the ballot, which any really famous celebrity like Matthew McConaughey would be taken seriously. I don't think people took Kanye seriously because he's obviously crazy. But like, if somebody believed they could run for president and was campaign on it all the time, and they're that famous and likable, I don't know. He would get 20% at least in polls, and that would be enough to make people be like, maybe he's got a shot. Maybe we should donate money because he's somebody that actually needs it. Nobody's
Uh,
people might be. I don't think people are stupid enough. Some are to keep donating money to Biden and Trump. Like everyone
so
knows they're gonna have tens of millions of dollars anyways. But
Ross Perot, he spent $65 million of his own money.
oh, that's true. He was a billionaire. Damn it.
Yeah,
But again, Matthew McConaughey is rich as shit too.
he's not a billionaire though.
No, he's not a billionaire. He's
Uh,
probably a multi tens of millions of dollars. It's pretty good, but
let's see.
maybe not. I'm just dreaming of the slimmest of possibilities that we could get out of this situation.
Yeah, I mean he. Let's see. I'm trying to see how would he end up in terms of. He had 19% of the vote. I think
Yeah,
and that was by far the highest that's ever happened before. And he spent
but
65
there
million
was times he was
dollars.
polling as like the winner, but that was before he dropped out the first time. He dropped out and then he came back at the race, and he had less support then. But when he was before he initially dropped out, which was so random, he was like very, very much a serious candidate. Like
I don't
people
know.
thought he was going to take it over. So I don't know.
But like I say, he's a billionaire, and so he could have
Yeah,
spent
that's a
money
good
all day.
point.
So I mean,
JB
at the end of the
Pritzker.
day,
JB Pritzker, he's not going
I
to run
think
against
Zach
that.
is right. I mean, it's going to be hard for independents to ever win this thing, but I do think Democrats are shooting themselves in the foot by not primarying Biden. I mean,
The best chance we would have to primary Biden would be Bernie, and Bernie's already saying he's not going to do it.
Yeah.
So we're fucked. I mean, it's just going to be Joe Biden.
Yeah.
it's going to be Joe, and I hope, that he has long health, that he can survive his presidency. I mean, because
Honestly, yeah.
that's all you can do, and hope that doesn't play. Like I hope my assessment of that race doesn't play out the way I think it's going to play out. Because if it does play out the way I think, and then I could see Trump going back into the White House.
Yeah.
So
I don't know. It's
I
so
don't know
hard
if
for
I'd
me to.
see. I don't know if I'd see Trump beating Biden in 2024.
It's so hard for me to picture because they're just so unlikable that I feel like anybody could beat either of them. So
Especially,
I'm like,
Biden lost by 3 million. Well, sorry, Trump lost by
Trump lost by 7 million.
7 million people, right?
So that's a big flip.
Especially with him being found liable for sexual abuse.
True.
Those independent voters. I mean,
Yeah.
the conservatives and the Trump base, of course, they're going to vote for Trump no matter what. Like he said, he could go on Fifth Avenue and shoot somebody, and they'd still vote for him, right? Like
Exactly.
But those independent voters are going to see that and think, I don't know, I'm not really too sure about this Trump guy anymore.
Yeah.
True.
I do think we're probably going to end up having just a low independent turnout. You know what I mean? I think that's what's going to end up happening. It's going to be who's going to show up in their own base, and oh man, it's going to be really hardcore campaigning against the other party, and that's all it's going to be. Is the Republicans are going to hate Democrats a ton. Democrats are going to hate Republicans, and independents are going to be like, I don't give a fuck. I'm not going to vote for either of these guys.
That's great. That means Democrats will win.
I think so. We got a little bit more voters than conservatives, but independents do lean conservative.
Yeah, when Democrats come out, we win. That's what they say.
True.
All right, guys. I think we've been on for an hour and 10.
Yeah.
This is a good one.
I know we always end up talking about the election again.
Yeah, this was fun.
It was, but I want to change today's segment to do something a little different.
Okay.
To cap out, I wanted to open the floor to any news that you guys thought was important that you guys want to talk about.
Man, I need to prepare better because there probably is.
Yeah.
Let me think real quick.
I wish I would have known about this before I got on it. I'd find something.
Yeah.
We should do that anyways and have news stuff. Jesse did a good job preparing today. He had some questions, but let me just scroll Twitter. Oh, there's the Nazis that are actually Hispanic Nazis that he shot up the school. Do you remember that story? Everybody's like,
the Hispanic Nazi?
The school shooting in Texas where he's like Hispanic, but he has Nazi tattoos.
But he's not actually a Nazi, and the deep state is making him look like a Nazi to make the MAGA people look bad because they're supposedly Nazis, but they're not actually Nazis, but they are. But they're not.
Yeah, conservatives are just doing backflips, trying to pretend like he's not. Like, why don't they just call him a Nazi and attack him for that? Why do they feel like he's part of their in group then? That they need to defend that he's not a Nazi if they weren't associated in some ways. So that's what's really going on.
I looked that up. That's crazy.
The Texas shooting? Yeah, it's some Hispanic guy.
I saw the shooting, but I didn't do a dive deep into the shooter. I mean, you hear this stuff like
they're always Nazis
now.
Well, he has like SS tattoos and the swastika on his heart and all that shit. So
he's a hardcore streamer.
Yeah.
But conservatives are like, no, it's not true.
No, he's not. These are fake tattoos.
How could he be a Nazi? He's not
AI generated.
Chat GPT.
Yeah.
All right, Zach. You anything about any news this week that you thought?
I mean, Mississippi's a shit show. We got Brandon Presley running for governor.
What's
he's
his name?
The Democrat?
Brandon Presley, yeah.
Brandon.
If you go on his website, he doesn't really have very many policies, actual policies up there.
Yeah.
He's a conservative Democrat, apparently. But I mean, what we have right now is Tate Reeves. So like a fascist. So I don't know if which one's better.
You think Presley will get a 35% this year?
I think he might have a better chance of getting a bigger minority of the vote than we've had in the past. Yes.
Yeah, because I don't think a Democrat's ever won Mississippi, have it?
Oh, not since the 60s.
Well, a lot of the big focus of the campaign is like corruption, because I don't know if you guys heard about that big welfare scandal with like Brett Favre involved and all that
Oh,
stuff.
yeah.
Yeah, I
So
remember that.
that's a big focus, and a lot of people don't like Tate Reeves because of that.
Okay.
But there's no one really primarying Tate Reeves for governor, so like
Yeah.
he's gonna win the governor. So I guess the thought process is there's gonna be some conservatives who would vote Republican otherwise, but because it's Tate Reeves, might vote somewhere else.
Kind of like the Roy Moore situation,
But
not
I
really.
think it's kind of misguided. I think that people are still gonna plug their nose and vote for Tate Reeves because he has.
I
an R
don't
next
think
to his
Matthew
name.
McConaughey
'Cause it's
could win
Mississippi,
governor
you know?
if he ran in Mississippi. I don't think Obama could win Mississippi if he ran for governor.
I don't think any Democrat can win.
That's what I'm saying.
It's like,
Nobody could. So you should get out of there, bro.
yeah,
Thanks.
Yeah.
no.
Yeah, I'll
You're
just
right,
move.
I'm
I'll just
sure
move
it's,
tomorrow. Yeah, that's a
I'm
good
sure
idea.
it's the first time you thought about it. Yeah.
Yeah, I'll just move tomorrow.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I moved to
it's just that
Bro,
easy.
we'll get a blow up mattress. You can come here.
in Cali, the San Francisco
Yeah.
way. I'm down here in
And-
Miami, Florida, and Tampa. So if you want to come hang out in
Tampa
Tampa,
sounds cool. I'd love to live in Tampa.
see, everyone loves Tampa except Seth. Seth left.
I went to Tampa in January
Tampa's
for the Rely Quest Bowl because my band was there. It was pretty fun.
There's
Yeah.
some
Oh,
cool shit in Tampa,
You're in
but
the
it's
band.
also
Yeah,
What instrument do you play?
I play trombone
Oh, that's
in
awesome.
the famous Maroon Band. None of my political opinions are affiliated with the famous Maroon Band.
I'm a musician too, so I appreciate musicians. You know, me being a drummer and stuff like that.
I played trumpet in 5th and 6th grade, so
That means you're a musician, man.
wait, that's a trombone. I don't even remember the instrument. My bad.
We're gonna have to go back to the archives.
I'm
That's
pretty sure I
unfortunate.
literally had F's in that class.
In band?
In music,
Yup.
How?
it's
You
an
just
art
have to
form.
go. You just have to go to the things, and then you get an A.
Nah, we still had to take tests and stuff, and I just
Oh,
didn't do
that's-
anything.
that's
And we had to like have our parents like sign stuff like showing that we practice, and I wouldn't even try that hard. I wouldn't even tell them to fake it. I just didn't do anything.
This guy knew he was gonna be a
Oh,
politician.
bro, I was such a anti-authoritarian. Even then, even if I was kind of a fascist, I was like, I'm not gonna do what they tell me to. They're talking about school matters, and no, it doesn't. I was in detention all the time.
So, like every conservative, they don't think education matters.
True.
Very true. Very true.
But
The
then I
most
got educated.
conservative.
Yeah. Oh, you can't trust academia. All these people reading books, they don't know the truth about what's going on.
All these teachers want us to do our schoolwork and shit.
They literally think that all school is like just us teaching kids how to be gay and like how to be trans. And that's somehow how conservatives literally. Anytime I talk to them about education, they're like, and they're teaching them how to be trans. That's what they
Yeah.
think school is. So
Yeah, I'm
Yep.
going to be a history teacher so I can teach kids to hate America. So-
yeah, kind of though. If you're honest.
Well,
No, not really.
Yeah,
I mean, if you teach history accurately, how can you think that America is the good guys in history?
yeah, that's kind of what I was saying. Yeah.
There really is no good guys.
Yeah, that's true. That's the better answer. We were good guys at one point. We were good guys against the British, and then we became stuck
I
in our
mean,
ways.
even I don't want to get sidetracked
That's
because
true. That's true.
I know we're trying to end the episode or whatever. But even if you look at the Revolutionary War,
yeah.
we started that war because we wanted to free the slave market. We wanted the
Yeah.
slave market to not be monopolized by the British crown. That's
It was
why
a
the war.
bourgeois
That's
civil
why.
war.
That's why we started the revolution.
That's not what I learned in history class. Zach.
They won't teach you that, but it's the truth.
Yeah, I learned about it had something to do with a tea in Boston, and
I mean,
Something
they
with
did the Tea
taxes.
Party, but that's not what started the Civil War or the Revolutionary War. It was It wasn't
Well,
started
that's
over the
just
Tea
part of
Party,
it.
but that's always how they try to like aim it. They're like, we fought a war because of 1% of taxes.
yeah, they went.
That's not really what happened.
I mean, yeah, the slavery trade. We have to dive deep into that one day, but
Yeah, that's true.
and Title
fun
42.
topic.
Well, next week we'll talk about Title 42 because that's going to be the hot topic of the week.
What is it?
Ending. If you
Okay, I
guys
guess-
can do some homework on that. But essentially, yeah, they shy away from slavery, and it's like it's an important part of our history. I mean, it's not, obviously we weren't there, but
Yeah.
you have to understand where we come from and what makes us.
Joe Biden was
They,
there.
they do teach
Ah,
slavery up till the point the Civil War ended, and they don't talk about Reconstruction, and that's where they
No,
lose everybody. Is because
yeah,
Reconstruction is where they're saying slavery didn't actually end, guys. It was actually they just became sharecroppers, and they just lived in the exact same farms that they were slaves at, except they got to keep their land that they already
And
lived
then
on.
sharecropping ended, and then they put him in prison.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
exactly.
a new form of slavery is
Yeah, they're like
prison.
it's
civil
yeah.
rights. Civil rights got passed. Oh, how do we create them a criminal, or how do we make them like second class citizens again? Oh,
Yeah,
well, they don't have rights if they're imprisoned, and they like to smoke weed and they like to be anti
they took
Vietnam and protest. So let's
the
like
moral
throw them
laws.
everybody in jail together.
Yeah, they came out the moral laws, and the
Yeah,
moral laws are pretty much affected black and brown people because it's like, no, you can't smoke weed. No, you can't do this, and no, you can't do that, even though it has nothing to do with harming another person.
it doesn't even have to do
And
with like morality either.
it's
It's not
more
even like a Christian morals to like you don't smoke the ganj.
it started based on the morality causes they put. That's what it started
Yeah.
from, the Christian
Well,
stuff.
I don't think they were saying. I think feel like that's where how it went to the 80s. I feel like the 70s were more like uh literally just complete propaganda. Like the you don't want to smoke weed. It's gonna make your brain fry like an egg, and like you're gonna
Yeah,
have your brains are gonna shoot out your ears. Like they just made up shit. And then by the 80s, it's like you don't want to be like them. It's
yeah,
through the moral thing. So I feel like Richard Nixon wasn't really the moral guy. Wasn't he also pro-choice?
clearly, he clearly wasn't the moral guy.
Yeah, we know that, but
Oh man,
he was like, how do I call them the N word without saying it? That was Richard Nixon,
he
Wasn't
was
that like
very.
every politician ever though? I mean,
kind of, yeah.
every
But
president.
for a while, they just said it.
I think Lyndon B. Johnson was like the first one that was like,
Well, JFK.
I don't know, because
JFK
Lyndon
was
B.
kind of
Johnson,
racist.
Well,
yeah,
so was,
Lyndon B.
so was
Johnson didn't.
LBJ. Didn't he say?
Huh?
I mean, he gave they both of them gave more like civil liberties, but they still used the N word. It's like a
No,
famous LBJ
I
quote.
don't think the Kennedys were like all down for like interrogation. I just don't. I mean,
Yeah,
I
I mean
knew they
they were
talked the
progressive
talk.
at the time, but if you threw LBJ or Kennedy in America today, they wouldn't be Republicans, but they would definitely be racist comparatively.
I don't think. Well, I can't say Lyndon B. Johnson. I can. I don't know about the Kennedys. I know Lyndon B. Johnson did way more for the black community
Yeah.
during that time than any sitting president ever.
He definitely did more, but he's also like it's a libertarian thing. They're like LBJ said these N-worders are gonna be voting for the Democrats for 100 years. There's like a quote by LBJ or something like that, and they're
That
like, well,
sounds yeah.
so I mean, he's probably thought he was a good guy and didn't have a problem with like black people, but he still used the N-word. It's still
Well, yeah.
completely.
What about 19? Well, okay, then I guess the first. Well, we always historically black people say our first black president was Bill Clinton. um,
Was Jimmy Carter? He was kind of a good dude, though, right?
yeah, he was a good dude, but no one ever talks about Jimmy Carter.
Yeah,
But
I
Bill,
agree.
it's a Bill Clinton. It's like was considered for the black community as our first black president. That was
Why
determined.
was that though? Was it because he like played the saxophone or something?
Yeah, he went to Art Center Hall and played the saxophone. We was like, man, that brother is cool, bro. He's
All
like
it
playing
takes.
the
You gotta be
sax.
in the band.
Yeah, he's like playing the sax, and he got soul. So he was definitely universally known for that. I
Just
mean,
wait till Zach runs for president and shows the trombone.
I
it's
don't know
gonna
if I
be.
could ever run for any political office ever with anything I've posted on Twitter. Like people would look
Well,
at my Twitter and be like, "Oh, we can't let this guy anywhere near public
well,
office."
bro, everybody in the future is gonna have that problem. Every single future president will have that problem, right?
Yeah, because it's now you can't even get elected without having a voice in politics. It's people want you to be outlandish nowadays. It's the way the politics works. People
I think he
don't.
means like his 14-year-old tweets where he was kind of
No, I mean like now. I mean
yeah.
No,
Oh,
it's
really?
where I'm
yeah,
posting anarchist shit. Like, how would that?
I think the political landscape will change over the next 20, 30 years. I actually legitimately think in like 20, 30 years, the Democratic Party is going to be a bunch of election Twitter people who are running everything. And they're all going to be like, oh, I'm a social Georgist. They're all going to be. I'm running for the Secretary of Interior. I know they don't run.
I think this take is kind of like your take on the election. I think it's just kind of misguided. I think you're just,
Well, no,
you're
on
just
this
too,
one,
you're too
well, on this
hopeful.
one,
You know.
no, okay. I don't think we are, but I think everybody that's going to inevitably become elected politicians, they're going to be like have been in politics on Twitter, which Twitter didn't exist at that time. Everybody is political on Twitter now, so I
Yeah,
feel
you
like
have
Yeah.
that's kind of social
that's
media.
kind of more what I'm saying. I don't think that we are going to inherit everything, but they're
Well,
going to
the
have
problem-
a Twitter history being in running for president year 2042.
Being
Yeah,
like cringe lords on Twitter. And,
the
Yeah,
political safe that worked for, I don't know, all the way up to Trump. That's those days are gone. Trump just
yeah,
rewrote the whole entire political history books. Like if you're not opinionated, you're just not getting elected.
yeah. I agree.
That's just,
Well,
yeah.
unless you're Biden.
Yeah, I mean, but even he had to go super progressive with a lot of stuff
Well, he
because
definitely had to go more progressive than he was, or even planned on.
he is. Yeah, he's not that progressive. Like
no,
historically, if you look
it's
at
all talk written by staffers.
it's all written by
Yeah.
staffers, and he has to sound like that because this is the political times. So it's really completely ruined. You have
Like-
to have a voice.
Like the State of the Union speech. A lot of that was, just very, very. Do you hear that?
Yusef?
No.
Oh, you're good, Zach.
Is that me?
No, I
I
think
don't know what you're
it's
talking about, so probably.
There's like a very, very like robot-y popping noise.
yeah. I think
But
that's
I was
the
saying, just like the State of the Union address, like it was very like opinionated towards progressive ideas. Like, he was actually going after Republicans, and he would never do that. He's about like bipartisanship and stuff.
yeah, he doesn't. So he.
Do you think
know,
he actually changed a little bit, though? Do you think he actually is more progressive? Because I feel like to
No.
an extent that's true. You think
No.
he's the exact same?
No, he got pushed to the left in the primary.
That's what I was thinking. I think
And
he,
he
I
had
think he's
to
a
keep-
little bit more progressive.
Yeah, he got pushed to the left, and he had to keep his base happy because, like you guys were saying earlier in your assessment of the 2024 race, it's going to be a very base driven election. So he has to keep
Yeah.
his base happy and have them come out. So it's a smart political move. Biden is not an idiot when it comes to politics. That I can tell you that.
Yep.
Yeah, he's been there a while. He knows how to play politics for sure.
Yeah, he
He's
knows
Knows
just,
the game.
he also knows he's not going to be able to change anything. So
Yeah,
fundamentally,
he's a big believer in the carrot and the stick.
I don't know how true it is. My brother mentioned that maybe the student loan thing is moving forward.
I hope so.
That's what I heard from Ethan, but he doesn't know
I'm
anything.
in a lot of debt. That'd be sick if I could not.
I think it moved forward. Here's my take, and we're way over time, but it's okay.
Yeah, I mean, we didn't really clarify how long we go, but yeah,
Yeah.
we'll wrap up soon.
So here's my take. Technically, I'm putting on my lawyer hat. I don't see how the Supreme Court can stop him on two reasons. One, there's no standing by the people who brought the lawsuit in the first place. And standing is the legal term that just essentially says that you have a right to be in court. And the people who brought the lawsuit really didn't have a right to be in court in the first place. So that's the first hurdle they have to get over, the Supreme Court. And the second hurdle they have to get over is the fact that the federal government, the way it works is the Congress gives the powers vested to the president. And once the powers have been vested to a president, he can execute whatever laws it takes him to essentially effectuate the laws that Congress has passed. So if he's canceling student loan debt, that is essentially the powers given to him by the legislature to the presidency to manage and operate the Department of Education, which operates the student loan debt.
Yeah.
So if he's canceling student loan debt, that's within his powers. And I don't know how some state in Texas can bring up a case and federal government says, well, President Biden can't do that because the legislature, who's not even suing the president, is, that's their power. So
But they'd have to flip two Republicans at the same time. So I could see how like
the Republicans, they're going to have to literally create law. And that's why I don't think the Republicans are really going to do that, because they would have to literally create the fact they're going to essentially, I'm trying not to get too complex with it, but essentially they would have to create a new standard for standing and rewrite all of constitutional law, and then they would have to rewrite the powers that are vested into a president and that the legislature gives them. And if they do that, that's essentially they're creating like three. I'm sorry, it's a client. It's really late, but it's like they would essentially write three different laws. And the Supreme Court is not in the business of writing laws, especially not a conservative Supreme Court. So they would literally create three different laws that one, they would have to establish a new standard for standing. They would have to establish a new standard for the executive branch, and they would have to establish new standards for the legislative branch.
True.
I just don't think they're going to do that. It's like
I feel like Clarence Thomas is going to vote against it regardless. You know what I mean? And Justice Roberts will probably side with the liberals. So it's kind of like that's why I'm like, even if you're definitely right, they are the Republicans. So I could see them being crazy and using vast federal power to reduce the size or reduce federal power, like that kind of shit. I could see them like making up something, but
it could be because
I hope you're right.
Here's a secret about the Supreme Court. A lot of people don't realize it. They usually don't like going against presidents of the United States.
They did on abortion though, kind of.
They did against FDR, but FDR just kind of ignored them.
Yeah.
They did not do abortion was not something that the president wanted.
What? You don't think Biden was pro-choice?
No. What I'm saying is it's not the president's law.
Yeah, you're right.
I'm not going to go against the president's law.
Yeah, I guess
you see Obamacare, the reason why we have Obamacare is because they sided with the president. Generally, Supreme Courts do not like going against the president.
Was the court as stacked at that time, though?
Well, we still had RBJ or RBG.
No, there was until 9. So there was
I meant like it's imbalanced. Not that there was not like stacking the court.
Oh, was it fully?
I mean, like we're 6-3, and that's hard to win anything. Even if we're obviously
okay.
The makeup.
Yeah, it was more even at that point. It was like
so they probably just had to flip one person had to stand on their integrity.
The Supreme Court Chief Justice Kennedy, he sided with the liberals on that decision, but that's because they don't like defying presidents.
But that was one person who doesn't like defying presidents. You see what I mean?
In the history of the Supreme Court, they really don't like doing that because technically, here's the reason why they don't like doing that. There's the whole FDR thing you guys were talking about.
Yeah, they don't want to get stacked.
They don't want to get stacked, and the president has the ability to do that. And
do you think he's got the balls to do that, to even threaten it, Biden?
I don't think he has the balls to get it passed.
But do you even think he could threaten it? I feel like nobody would believe him if he said that.
They wouldn't believe him because of the House. But if they lost the House, it'd be a very real possibility that could happen. Because then it would just, the House and the Senate and the president would just sign off on it. And historically, I know abortion was like the most conservative, was the most controversial thing they ever done, but really it wasn't that controversial. All they really said was
delegate to the states.
And it wasn't like they outright banned abortion. They just said, it's a state's problem. And so they're really not that radical. They kind of like keep the status quo. That's just how the Supreme Court works. And I just don't see them trying to rewrite laws so that they can get this one.
I agree. I think they would probably save it for something more important to them. I'm starting to side with you more.
Yeah,
I think it's unlikely that it doesn't pass eventually.
And there's another concept you guys, at home, you guys can look it up. It's called a political question. So if you look at that concept, the Supreme Court, political questions are typically their scapegoat of not really answering legal questions that involve the legislative branch and the executive branch. So that's kind of how they get around not really ruling on controversial things. Mm-hmm. They should have did it with the student loan, but they didn't. They should have done it. And another secret, I'm sorry, this is a very interesting topic, clearly.
Yeah.
Of Amy Barrett.
Amy Coney Barrett.
Eddie Coney Barrett.
I remember names.
Yes. She had the opportunity to have it heard in her court, and she denied it. And
Hmm.
she's a conservative Supreme
Yeah.
Court justice. And so
Interesting.
by seeing that she didn't want to hear that case, I definitely think the student loan is going to go through. I don't think they want to touch that.
She's one of the people I would have expected would definitely vote like with the
Yeah, would have
conservatives
voted.
no matter
Yeah,
what.
but she didn't vote for them.
I feel like
She
it's
didn't-
Roberts and Gorsuch are kind of like the you'll see where they go.
Yeah, Neil Gorsuch is the Kavanaugh Gorsuch. It-
It's kind of the only two. Alito's far right. Clarence
they're
Thomas
all
far
out there.
right.
Yeah, they're all far. Right.
Brett Kavanaugh is probably he could probably switch on a couple issues, but he's pretty much on the conservative side. Gorsuch is more like a civil libertarian, but he's like far right on economic stuff, so that's a hit or miss.
Yeah. All right, guys.
Yeah,
Well, I gotta get
we
up.
could keep talking, but
Yeah, but we're going to talk about Title 42 next week, guys. I'm very interested in that topic. I like immigration. I don't like immigration law, but I do like
Yeah.
immigration. So that's going to be a pretty interesting topic. That's going to end next week, and we're going to have another migrant crisis. And I think it'd be a great opportunity for us as progressive to bring our voice in the conversation of what we should do to pass immigration reform, and with some cool programs to talk about immigration reform. All right.
like a plan.
Yeah, guys, any final goodbyes?
I don't have anything in my mind. I feel like we talked for a while. 90 minutes is. I feel like that's a good time. I like
Follow me on Twitter at RealZachBrit. Hail State. That's all I got.
Yep.
State? What state? The government? You statist? I'm just kidding.
All right, guys. We'll see you next week.
All right. Everybody have a good night.